Hey, what's up? What's up? This is April. What's up, my TCG fam? Okay, so what is going on with, let me just get everything straight first. Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. What is going on? Everybody like the video as you come in. If you're catching the replay, be sure to like the video. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're trying to build the channel, so I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Okay, so Superintendent Devon Horton. What is going on with these people infiltrating Georgia? They come here from these places, FANI, Devon, the South Fulton mayor. They come here and they fool us, the community. They fool us. They say, okay, if you vote us in, we're going to do this for the community. We're going to do this for the community. And they do all this. They say they're going to pour back into our community, and they don't. But they say that because they need our votes to get them in. So they need us in the communities to get in, and then they come in and they don't do what they say. And a lot of them, honestly, they look down on us, to be quite honest. And we're thinking, certain things, but we have no idea the links that they're going through to get to where they are. Because let me tell you something, these officials are doing some crazy things, and something's wrong. What does that mean? Let's see, maybe it's something else. Let me check something because, yeah. So welcome everybody. Come on in, and let's get into this stuff. Okay. Hello, come on in. Welcome. As you come in, please like the video. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I am April. What's up, my TCG fam? All right, so give me just a moment here. I'm just trying to make sure that everyone can see me. It says live. Let's see what it says here. No, something's wrong. It's like people are tuning in, but then something happens. Let's see. Can anyone see me? Okay, so I'm assuming, let me see. Can anyone see me? Okay, so I think everything's okay now. I think it's just, let me turn that down. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's so much going on. And by the way, just to get off subject a little bit, so yes, Puffy, not only did he get sentenced to the 50 years, but he is also having to forfeit property. Oh my goodness. He is having to forfeit property, guys. And we're going to get into what he's had to forfeit as well. That's something to think about. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, so this Devon Horton, as you see on the thumbnail, that's a picture of this Thornton guy. This guy is he's been charged with some stuff, and allegedly he had already had some background that was crazy from, I think, Illinois. and they voted him in. Now we don't vote the superintendents in, the people, the taxpayers, which we should, but we don't vote them in, the people, the other people. So they're saying now that they're investigating the people who voted him in because those people knew of his history. So evidently he had a history, allegedly, of whatever he's been doing. And it's just a shame, honestly. It's really a shame how these folks, these public officials, FANI, this dude, all these folks, they come in and they make promises to the communities to get the community to vote them in, and then they take from the community when they get in, because we're paying taxes, right, to these people. We're paying our taxes, and we're paying taxes to go to this, to to give back to our community, right? Well, most of us pay taxes because we have to. That's the honest truth. But we're trying to put in, some of us are putting into our communities, or trying to put into our communities. And these guys are coming in with promises to help and build our communities, and they take away from our community. And that's just crazy. And we're not having it. And then also, I want to give a shout out again, as I do each live I've ever done. I want to give a shout out to the auditors that are out here risking their freedom, risking arrest, because once they arrested and it goes to trial or goes to a hearing, it's charges are dropped because they people are breaking the law trying to, anyway. So give a shout out to auditors. Auditors, y'all are doing y'all thing. Okay, so let's get into this indictment. So this is the indictment of Devon Horton. This is the superintendent of DeKalb County. Okay, DeKalb County. As you look in the description, as you see, there are a list of names, because it reminds me of Mayor Jack Ellis, the other mayor. Why is this mayor, the other mayor of South Fulton? I can't think of his name right now, but why is that mayor having to pay back? He's on a payment plan, paying back funds that he used, allegedly misappropriated, going to Africa and all this stuff like that. And he's on a payment plan. But isn't misappropriation of federal funds a crime? It's a felony. So that's pretty interesting. And then FANI, I told you from the beginning, like, she went after Trump, which is fine for her to go after Trump, but you have to make sure that your own house is clean, and her house was not clean at all. So she's got some heat that's coming on her, because Trump is not going to let her get away with that. Trump is like one of those people who is like, I'm going to get you back. He's like a payback type of person. So he's going to get her back for what she did, for coming after him like that. But yeah, you would think that she would have like a squeaky clean record, squeaky clean background. And it just wasn't. She was doing the most craziest things. She was having an in-office affair, going on these lavish vacations and all this stuff with this attorney that she hired as the lead prosecutor for Trump, for the Trump thing. If she didn't think that they were going to find out about that, like, what the heck? Okay, so let's get into this. And again, hello to everybody as you come in. Most people have been catching my lives on the replay, so thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. So let's get into this information. So this is the indictment of the Devon Horton. And y'all know I get a little passionate. So as I'm reading this stuff, y'all know I'm gonna, my emotions will come out, because I get a little passionate when it comes to me being a taxpayer, and these people like misappropriating funds and my funds, I get a little passion. I'm a passionate person about this. So forgive me when I start reading and I get emotional and I'm putting in my opinion and all that. Forgive me. I can't be biased in this situation. All right, so let me get it together. Let me share my screen. Okay. And let's see. Okay. So we're going to share the screen. Let's go to the indictment. And I was wondering if, like, should I, excuse me, I was wondering if I should, um, like go live. I mean, excuse me, go live in the morning or in the evening for this because a lot of people are more alert in the mornings, but I'm not sure. I just chose this time. So I might like do another live like Friday morning just to review this information, just to see what the turnout will be like on in the mornings versus evenings versus nights, really, because it's nighttime. It's not no evening. All right, so let's get into this. And oh, is this for real? Y'all see what this says? It says received October 8th, 2025. Okay. That's what it says at this. Look at this stamped piece right here. But look at the count one, the special April 2024 grand jury charges. April 2024. Okay. I wonder if these people like do these things and think that they're like, because it's not like millions of dollars, that, oh, it's okay. I don't know. I wonder what's in their minds. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so relevant. And then we've got these other names too: Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, Alfonso Lewis. Let's look these up. Let's see what we can find on these folks. I'm just curious. And I am also nosy, so let's see who Antonio Ross is. He out of Atlanta or is he out of Illinois? Let's see. Um. Oh my goodness. Some new information has come out. So at first he was on paid time off, PTO. Okay. So he was getting paid, but he had to like he's resigned. He resigns after indictment. This just was posted. I'm reading a post looking up this other dude. It says that 47 minutes ago, this news station has just reported that he has resigned after the indictment. Oh my gosh. What? This man has resigned. Now, if you are innocent of something that you've been charged with, if you are innocent, as young as he is, uh, why would you resign if you're innocent? This man has resigned. That is crazy. This man is going down. And just because people resign, we are going to stay on your butt, Mr. Horton. Okay, we're going to stay on your butt because you're not getting away with taking away from our community. People will be coming here to Georgia like, okay, they're stupid. Let's get them. Let's get this money, honey. You know what I'm saying? They be thinking they can get the money, and most of us, honestly, we let them. We just we just, I don't know what's wrong. Like, we have got to pay attention to what's coming into this state. Pay attention. I don't understand why we let people infiltrate and just take over. Look at what's happening. Anyway, okay. So yeah, this man has resigned. That is crazy. This is crazy. After he's done the wrong. Let's get into the indictment though. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. Oh, that is so crazy that we just find this out. This says 47 minutes ago. This news article was just posted 47 minutes ago. So this is something that recently happened, probably today. Anyway, let's get into what this indictment is about. Okay, so Evanston Skokie School District 65 was a public school district and unit of local government. Now, this is from Illinois, okay, if I'm not mistaken. Governed by the District 65 Board of Education, located in Northern District of Illinois. Okay. So it says within each 12-month period during calendar years 2022 and 2023, District 65 received benefits in excess of $10,000 under federal programs involving grants, contracts, subsidies, and other forms of federal assistance. Okay. District 65 contracted with certain vendor companies to provide professional services that supported the district's operations and initiatives. Defendant Devon Horton was employed as a superintendent of District 65. Horton's duties as superintendent. Now, let me tell y'all something. Okay, here I go. Now I have ADHD, so I'm gonna bounce from here to there. But let me just say this: you're gonna hear a lot of people coming saying, "Oh, they always attacking the black man, the black man. They always trying to get the powerful black man." Dude, stop saying that. We are doing that to ourselves. We are doing that to ourselves. Look at that guy in South Fulton, the mayor of South Fulton. Why in the world is he catering to like Africa and doing all that stuff? And that's the same thing that the mayor of an ex-mayor of Macon, Georgia, Mayor Jack Ellis, same thing he did. Went over to Africa, took all these folks. This is on taxpayers' dime. What is up with that? What's up with the sister country, Africa, and doing all that? What's up with that? Why are these guys doing that? Africans don't even like us. I mean, I'm not getting that. I'm not getting it. Somebody please, if y'all know, send me an email, write it in the comment, explain to me what's the deal with why we are spending so much money in Africa. These public officials here in Georgia, and they probably doing it in other places too. Anyway, let's get back to Devon Horton. Okay, so Defendant Devon Horton was employed as the superintendent of District 65. Horton's duties as superintendent included, among other things, management and supervision of the day-to-day operations of the district, review and approval of proposals from vendor companies that sought to provide professional services to the district, execution of the district's contracts with vendor companies that provided professional services to the district, and review of approval of invoices vendor companies submitted for professional services that were provided to the district. As District 65's superintendent, Horton was an agent of District 65 and owed a duty of honest services to District 65. I'm a little dramatic, so. Okay. All right. Horton owned Altering the Education Expectation, LLC. Okay, that's important to keep in mind. Now, he owned Altering the Education Expectation. They always have these LLCs, these nonprofits, I bet. Okay, anyway, a company organized in the state of Illinois and based in Evanston, Illinois. So let's keep that in mind. I bet a lot of these funds went right to that organization. All right, so between in or around June 2020, oh my God, COVID time, and in or around June 2023, Horton was a resident of the Northern District of Illinois. Defendants, okay, here we go. These other names: Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Alfonso Lewis were friends of Horton. Friends of Horton. Antonio Ross was employed by Chicago Public Schools, CPS, okay, Chicago Public Schools, as the principal of Hyde Park Academy High School. Antonio Ross's duties as principal included, among other things, management and supervision of the day-to-day operations of Hyde Park Academy, overseeing the school's finances and facilitating payment by CPS to vendor companies that provided professional services to Hyde Park Academy. Oh, I already see where this is going. Antonio Ross also owned Connecting the Dots Leadership Initiative, LLC, a company organized in the state of Illinois and based in Chicago, Illinois. Samuel Ross owned Asset Protection Specialists, LLC. Y'all already see where this is going. A company organized in the state of Illinois and based in Berwyn, Illinois. Lewis was employed by Chicago Public Schools as the athletic director of Hyde Park Academy. Lewis also owned New Flight 35 Sports and Academic Academy, LLC, a company organized in the state of Illinois and based in Chicago, Illinois. Individual A was Horton's sibling. Oh my gosh. Where's A? Which one was A? All right, so I'm assuming it's Lewis. Lewis was the one employed, the sibling was a District 65 employee in Horton's. What? Who's individual A? Oh, I'm assuming that these are people that's not listed. I don't get it. I don't know. But let's just keep going. So is a sibling involved and executive assistant. Y'all be careful of who y'all work for now. Y'all see some dirty going on, leave the company. You don't have to tell, but leave the company. I'm telling you. Because you'll go down with them. I know a friend, I know a girl, her sister was working for a company. I think it was a real estate company, if I'm not, it was a long time ago. But her sister was working for a real estate company that was doing some dirty stuff. And she got time. She got served. All she was a receptionist. So you see some stuff going down, leave the company. I'm telling you, because you will go down with them when the stuff hits the fan. Okay, let's get back to where we were. All right, so let's see. Okay, so individual A was Horton's siblings. Individual B was a District 65 employee and Horton's executive assistant. Individual C was a District 65 employee and the purchasing agent for District 65. Okay, so applicable District 65 policies and procedures. Okay, we're not going to go into that. Because that's not what we don't care about that. We want to know what he did wrong, right? What he's being charged with. His alleged crime. Okay. So, let's see. Let me see. Where the purchasing is. Well, let's get into it. Let's read this whole indictment. Let's get into it. All right, so These are the policies and procedures of District 65, okay? The District 65 Policy Manual set forth the purchasing and contracting policies employed by District 65, including the following. The superintendent would manage the district's purchases and contracts in accordance with the law and the standards set forth in the District 65 Policy Manual. Every district purchase and contract would support a recognized district function or purpose, as well as provide good quality products and services at a reasonable cost. All right. So that's just like, any corporation sounds like, when you are hiring outside for services, you want to, shop around, get the lowest cost provider, all that stuff. Okay. So the District 65 Policy Manual also set forth the standards of, I'm going to stand up a little bit, y'all. Standards of conduct applicable to the District 65 superintendent and other district employees, including the following. Okay. No District 65 employees was allowed to act as an agent of the district for the purpose of acquiring profit or personal gain. There we go, right there. No District 65 employee was allowed to solicit or accept anything of monetary value from contractors, potential contractors, or parties to agreements with District 65. The superintendent of District 65 was required to annually file a statement of economic interest form with the Cook County Clerk, which would disclose, among other things, certain income received during the preceding calendar year, as well as the nature of source of such income. Any official that filed a statement of economic interest form was required to verify that the information in the filing was true, correct, and complete. All right, so that's just laying out the policy's procedure. Let's see what this next statement says. The District 65 board received written notifications in advance of board meetings of any contract between the district and the vendor company that provided professional services to the district if the total value of the contract exceeded $25,000. Let's read this statement again. The District 65, excuse me, second, sorry about that. All right. So thank y'all for being so patient. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's get back to um our reading. Let's see. Oops. Where is it? Right here. Okay. So the District 65 board received written notification in advance of board meetings of any contract between the district and a vendor company that provided professional services to the district if the total value of the contract exceeded 25,000. Okay? But y'all already see where this is going, right? Cuz I do. Yep, I see where this is going for sure. So, let's move on. Move along. And we're going to follow this guy. We're going to follow this case. Or I'm going to follow this case. So the scheme. Ooh, the scheme. Sounds like a chapter in a book. Ooh, the scheme. Let's see what they were scheming. Okay. So it says beginning no later than in or around August 2020. And continuing, this is like a movie. Oh my gosh, these people crazy. Okay, so continuing to in or around June 2023 at Evanston in the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, and elsewhere. So we've got Devon Horton, Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Alfonso Lewis. So that must be the sibling, Alfonso Lewis. All right. Defendants herein, as well as others known and unknown to the grand jury. So this man, they did all this allegedly, and he comes to Bubblegump, Georgia, and takes advantage of these Southerners and promises stuff into the community. And we see black, a lot of us, and we like, oh, vote for them. You know what I'm saying? Not understanding that just because yeah, come on now. We gotta think. We gotta use our brain. Just because it's black doesn't mean it's just like back in the day. Just because it's white doesn't mean it's right. So we gotta look at the background of people when you're before you vote people in. Look at the background. Look at what did they do for their previous community. That's what you got to do. All right. So these defendants herein, as well as others known and unknown to the grand jury, okay, knowingly devised, intended to devise, and participated in a scheme to defraud District 65 of money and property by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises, and of the intangible right to the honest services of Horton through kickbacks, as further described below. Now, I'm reading this in a joking manner. I'm being dramatic and all this, but I'm going to tell you right now, it really frustrates me to know that people allegedly takes advantage of our community, our people, taking money from the educational system. Like, I'm really big on education, super big on education. Okay. And for these people to have allegedly taken advantage and taken money out of our school system, okay, money out of our school system. We need more money in our school system, in our community. These folks taking money out of our school system for their own personal gain. Like, that really frustrates me. It really frustrates me because our community need more money. Our schools our school systems are struggling. We have to darn pull from nothing. We don't have, this is crazy that these people would come and defraud allegedly our community's school system. This is crazy. Like, we need that. We need those funds for our kids' education. Everything that goes into the more funds that a school system has, the better teachers that can be hired. The more funds a school system have, the more programs that a school can have in each district. The more funds that a school district has, the more counselors can be hired for that district. The more funds a school have, the more activities. It just goes on and on and on. It's just ridiculous. This is sad. And let me tell you something. People that take away from the Board of Education, people that take away from the educational system, like, this is crazy. This is crazy. And no, you're going to get it. Not just resigning, but if you've done these things, if you've proven guilty of doing these things, like, this man should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And my little brother laughs at me when I say that, but he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, because you don't take away from our kids when we need the funds in our school systems. Okay? I'm really frustrated with this. And I know I'm being dramatic, like I said, but that's just how I feel. It really frustrates me when I see people doing this to our community. All right, so here's the overview of the scheme. Okay? All right, now everything that I say is alleged. These are charges. He has not been proven guilty or found guilty in the court of law at this point. So everything that I'm reading is alleged. All right, so let's go. But he resigned. Yeah, okay. All right, so it was part of the scheme that Horton, Ross, both Rosses, and Lewis made materially false and fraudulent fraudulent representations to make it falsely appear that Horton had no personal or economic interest in and was not associated with certain individuals and entities that Horton, in his capacity as District 65 superintendent, selected and caused to be for the award of professional service contracts. These false and fraudulent representations were made for the purpose of concealing that Horton was receiving kickbacks from Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis and their associated entities, which Horton selected and caused to be selected for the award of professional service contracts. And so let me tell y'all what this means. So what this is like, because I don't know, I can't remember what kind of situation was it, but oh, okay. It's just like, so I hired someone back in 2017. I know how to do it myself now, but I hired someone in 2017 to hang the TV on the wall, right? Okay. So they came in, and I had never charged anyone. I never paid the fee for having a TV hung on the wall at that time. So I paid what they charged. Later on, I found out that what they charged was way over the amount of what other people were charging. So I was like, wait, and when I say a big difference, it was a big difference. Okay, so because I knew the person that charged me this crazy amount of money, I asked them, I was like, why don't you charge me this much money and this person charges this much money? Because they said that they were, so they were they were getting the funds, but they were paying someone else something, basically, like I was paying two parties. So say if I work for, in this case, a school district, and I hire a contractor to come in to do our lawn maintenance for the school system for that district, right? And I say, okay, we're going to pay you all this much money, this whopping huge amount of money. But for me hooking you up with the contract, I need you to give me this many thousands of dollars out of it, which is crazy because, I mean, let's see how much a superintendent salary is. A superintendent salary has got to be quite a bit. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. So, superintendent salaries vary widely by industry, experience, and location, of course, with the average salary for a construction superintendent being around, that's a construction superintendent. Okay, school superintendent averaging approximately 154,000. Averaging, that's an average. So you making you're making over $150,000 a year, and probably in the state of Illinois, probably much more. But you're stealing money from the community when you guys could have, instead of you trying to cut yourself, allegedly, those funds, you could have given that money to put back in the school system, and your friends could have said, you know what, we're going to sign that contract for this much money because that's more than what we usually get anyway, just because you're hooking us up. So hey, and then give back to the community. How about put the money back into the school system that needs it? People just so wrong. They don't care about, and the most important, and the thing is, when you become a superintendent, you would think that the most important piece of becoming a school superintendent are the kids in the community. That should be your most important piece. And if that's your most important piece, you're trying to find ways of putting funds back into the school system, especially if you're a superintendent of a place like DeKalb County, okay? The school systems like those, I don't know where he came from in Illinois. I don't know what kind of system that was, but more than likely, I'm thinking, I know that they needed the funds. So, okay. It was further part of the scheme that Horton, Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis formed and caused the formation of companies, namely Connecting the Dots, Asset Protection, and the New Flight 35. That's all their companies, to apply as vendor companies for professional services contracts with District 65, and through the use of the companies concealed and disguised the fact that portions of payment that District 65 made to the companies would be kicked back to Horton. Just like I said, I already knew it before I read it. I already knew it. And let me tell you something. Okay, so 150,000, that's not a lot of money, right? You would think the superintendent is, you would think the salary is more than that. However, if it's not enough money for you, then go find another career. Don't take advantage of the school system and take their money when they're struggling. Most school systems are struggling. We can't even get good teachers in most of our communities because we got to pay the lowest amount because we're struggling with funds. Shoot, like, come on, find another career if it's not enough money for you. It was further part of the scheme that Horton, Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis submitted and caused to be submitted false and fraudulent documents to District 65 to obtain professional service contracts and money from District 65. It was further part of the scheme that Horton, Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis prepared and submitted and caused to be prepared and submitted to District 65 proposals, contracts, and invoices on behalf of the companies in which they made false representations to conceal the personal or economic interest of Horton in the proceeds of the company's contract with District 65. So just like I already knew it when it said, oh, his friend LLC, all these LLCs that his friends had, his sibling, whatever. I already knew what I was about to read. I already knew it. It was further part of the scheme that Horton concealed and caused to be concealed from the District 65 board professional service contracts that Horton awarded and caused to be awarded to the companies, including contracts valued at more than $25,000, the proceeds of which contracts would be kicked back to Horton instead of put back into the school system. Crazy. Crazy work. This is so crazy. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. I mean, I believe it because I'm seeing it, but I just can't believe that. I wonder how long, I wonder what caused. So this was 2024 when these charges were first sent out. So how long has he been active in the Board of Education as a superintendent in DeKalb County since these charges were put out? That's what we want to know. We want to know what fund did he misappropriate funds in DeKalb County allegedly, or was it just here and he ran from Illinois and allegedly and came here? And what was the deal with that? And evidently, from what they're saying is that there are people that was aware of this. So who voted him in and they were aware of this? They probably voted him in because they said, oh, he don't follow the books. So let's get him in here so we can all make some money. That's what I'm probably thinking. I'm thinking that. It was for just like FANI and her little boyfriend. Okay, we're gonna get you to get this higher salary so that we can do more lavish things. Okay. It was further part of the scheme that Horton concealed and caused to be concealed from District 65 board and other District 65 employees his relationship with Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis in order to conceal that he had a personal or economic interest in the contracts. And let me just say this, and again, my mind is going somewhere. Okay, so when someone is doing a job, when someone is doing their job description, and you don't like it or you want it done differently and they don't change to your satisfaction because they want to do it by what their policies says do it, how their policies say do it, don't get mad at that person. That's not their problem. You need to go up. If you must get mad and throw a hissy fit, go above them to get things changed or whatever you got to do if you're that dramatic. But don't get mad at that person. I can't stand to see people fussing at people doing their job the way they're supposed to do their job, because who are you to change how this person is doing their job? That they're doing it how they're supposed to do it. Can't stand it, especially these young people. Like not we, because I don't do it, but a lot of people be looking at people that's young employed at certain places. They be like, why can't you do that? And they be trying to intimidate these folks. Like, stop doing that. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know why. What's the deal? Okay, let's get back. Let's focus. Okay, focus. That's the ADHD in me, okay? All right, so Lewis, in order to conceal that he had a personal or economic interest in the contracts he had awarded to the companies. It was further part of the scheme. They call it a scheme because it's a scheme that Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis submitted and caused to be submitted to District 65 invoices. Oh, invoices. Wow. We love those invoices. Got to keep those invoices on file. Invoices on behalf of the companies that falsely represented that certain professional services had been provided to District 65 when they knew that those services. Oh, wow. So they weren't even providing the services allegedly? They weren't even providing these services. So these were pretty much like alleged fake companies. So they're like, okay, we're going to put down that we own this LLC. Well, they actually own the LLC. And we're going to put down that we provide these kind of services so that you can go in and then you're going to pay us for these services that we are falsely saying that we provide. And they don't even provide these services. Wow. I wonder how that is crazy. That is sick. So that's almost like this shutdown, right? So this shutdown, now this is my understanding, okay? This shutdown, supposedly there's so many uh jobs that were created, okay? Is it like the same thing? So Trump basically is like, after his folks looked into things in detail, like, okay, wait, this was not supposed to be a position. Let's take away all this stuff that people have created for their friends, their family. You know what I'm saying? Let's take away this. I mean, that's almost like what we're reading. It was further part of the scheme that Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis submitted and caused to be submitted to District 65 invoices on behalf of the companies that falsely represented that certain professional services had been provided to District 65 when they knew that those services had not been provided. Just like it, one thing that I'm happy that Trump came in and took away that let's get these people working from home and stuff, because I don't know about you guys, but calling into a government service and these people acting like they're your friend, and you're calling into a professional company, like it really started to get on my nerves. I don't know about anybody else, but like, hello, what you need? Like, come on. Some of these these people were making up positions to get people job. Like, come on now. And then here a lot of us can't find jobs, because we're intimidating the next person. So it's hard for us to get jobs. So a lot of us have to dumb down to be able to slide into the companies. You know what I'm saying? To slide into the positions because we don't want to intimidate that person that's supposed to be up here. So we're like dumbing down. We're like, you know what I'm saying? Just to get the position. So we don't intimidate the dorm folks. Okay, let's get back. Let's focus. Let's focus on this. Okay. So it was further part of the scheme that Horton approved and caused the approval of false and fraudulent invoices submitted by the companies to District 65. So they weren't even providing, allegedly, they weren't even providing any services. They just made up these LLCs just to get these checks. Like, we provide, okay, my LLC is going to provide this kind of service. So pay us for this, like, oh my goodness. It was further part of the scheme that through the submission and approval of false and fraudulent invoices. Wow, false and fraudulent invoices. Mm-hmm. Horton, Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis caused District 65 to issue checks and initiate electronic funds transfers to bank accounts associated with the companies, those LLCs, Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis, y'all. Do y'all understand what this is? Let me go. Let me see if anybody's commenting because I'm just reading this and I can't see the other side. Okay, so nobody's commented, but do y'all understand what this is? Do y'all understand? Like, are y'all following what is going on? Are y'all following what's happening? So basically, it was fake companies, allegedly. So I go out there, like I have an LLC, right? So I take my LLC and I present it to um, a, a grand company and I say, okay, I'm going to provide this service, but I don't even provide that service. I'm just getting the money from you. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying in these charges. Okay. So fake services. The LLCs are real, but they're saying fake services. That's what they're saying. All right, so let's get back to it. Do y'all understand that? Anybody have questions about that? All right, so I'm going to go back to it. Let's see. All right, so it was further part of the scheme that, okay, it was further part of the scheme that after the companies, Antonio Boss, Samuel Ross, and Lewis received payment for District 65, and Antonio Ross, Samuel Ross, and Lewis paid and caused to be paid to Horton. What? Or to an individual associated with Horton, namely individual A. That's the relative. Kickbacks of a portion. Oh, so a portion of the payments, just like I said. So, okay, you give us this contract for these fake services, and we're gonna hook you up with half of it. You know, that's how it went. You cannot misappropriate federal funds. It is a felony, period. So, you know, whether we like it or not, that's just that's a felony. You can't do that. If you want to make more money than what you're being offered in a position, okay, after you get this education and you find that you need to make more money, then you find another position that's going to make you more money, or you go and do a side hustle, you know, whatever you need to do, but you don't sit there and take away funds from our kids education system, educational system. You just don't do that, because then you be looking at people like me that's going to like haunt you on the internet, because I'm like, hold on, these kids, these are the same kids that I'm seeing struggling. I live in a community where it's some struggling, it's a struggling school system. We need the funds. It's people out here begging the Board of Education for funds to pour into our school system, and these school systems are struggling because they don't have funds available, and because they don't have funds available because of shit like this is why. So I'm real passionate about our kids' education, period. You don't take away from our kids. Who the heck are you? And Horton need to be kicked up his butt just for that. You talking about DeKalb County? Do y'all know anything about DeKalb County school system? Are you kidding me? Well, like I said, now this is from Chicago. This is from 2022 or whatever. So I don't know if he was. I don't think that they've said anything so far about him misappropriation of funds allegedly from DeKalb County, but man, yeah, that's real frustrating when you live, especially if you went to a school and people that probably never noticed this or probably grew up in a certain class, higher class, and they don't even know what I'm talking about. Y'all cannot relate. But those of us who grew up in these poverty level places, communities, okay, where we only had this, and this in our school systems, and come on now, y'all know what I'm saying. It's frustrating to see these folks take it. Are you going to take away from what we already don't have enough? How are you going to take away from what we don't have? That's crazy. That's just like black people, black on black crime. You're going to take from the people that's suffering the most. The heck? Gonna take away from the people that's suffering the most. Take away from the people that's suffering the most. And the people that's suffering the most are your own people. Honestly, like, listen to this. It's sad that people are losing their getting laid off and stuff like that, but it is taking Trump to come in and fix certain things that should have been fixed a long time ago. You're taking away from people that need it the most. Are you crazy? This man needs to be kicked up his butt for doing the alleged things that he has done. It's sad. Those kids system, they need that money for the programs, the activities that they need. Everything takes funds. Every activity, every program takes funds to produce, to live by, these parents don't have money. When you talk about fundraising, these kids that try to go out here and fundraise, you see these kids like in my community, when you drive in, you see kids like during basketball, football season, you see the kids out there with signs, "We'll wash your car." These kids are fundraising funds for their program, to get uniforms, to get band instruments, to get whatever they need. And you're going to take away from programs in these school systems that need the funds? Are you for real? Crazy. You need to be kicked up your butt. And you don't need to be in a county like DeKalb County. You don't need to be in a county like that, because we need the funds. He needs to be kicked up his butt. And I hope that if he is found guilty of these things that they're allegedly saying that he's done, I hope he is prosecuted to the fullest period, because that doesn't make any sense to take away from funds that are needed in these little school systems. It's ridiculous. Come on now. All right, so man, that's crazy. This is crazy, y'all. Oof. Okay. It was further part of the scheme that to conceal the kickback payments, Horton directed Antonio Ross and Lewis to transfer some some of the kickbacks payments to a bank account associated with individual A, the sibling, and Horton directed individual A to transfer the funds to Horton. So they actually plotted and planned to take these funds from these kids. That's basically what you're doing. You took funds from kids, because the funds into the educational system is going to the kids. So you took funds from the kids to benefit your own pockets when you are making over $100,000. That's crazy. These kids need these funds. I don't know if y'all have ever, for parents who's ever volunteered for a program in a school system, or um, or even just a parent who pay these fees. You pay these yearly fees, like if your child is a cheerleader or in a band or in a dance class or whatever, you know how expensive, you've got to pay these fees, right? These yearly fees. So parents, and then they have like, so football, okay? So they have these football fees, right? Every year that the child has to pay. Some kids, they take these fundraisers, they go out there and they fundraise, they're selling cokes, whatever, to get these funds to pay their fees, right? Because not everybody can come up with $500 for a fee or whatever it is. So they go out there and fundraise, and they're like trying to earn money to get their fees. Now, if the school system is taking money from that district, that could be money going towards those kids that can't afford their fees. What if that child doesn't meet that requirement. Thankfully, I've never been in a situation where I couldn't pay for a fee that that was needed, because I'm gonna tell you, the type of parent that I was, I'm still a parent, but the type of parent that I am, like, I'll go out here and bust my butt to make sure that my children have never suffered for or went without, because I've always been that parent. I'd rather be out there working, and they may have like uh has may not have had me on a personal basis as much on this end, because I was out there making sure that that I could pay for their activities and their extra, whatever any other child was doing. If my child wanted to do, you're going to do it. If you want to do it, you're going to do it, because it's not the child's problem that you can't pay for something. That's not the child's problem. That's your problem. So you got to get out there and bust your butt to make it happen. But the whole point is, if you can't make it happen, okay, if you can't make it happen, it's really nice for that school system to say, okay, this child didn't make the fundraising goal, but they tried, they sold this much, in the fundraiser. Let's go ahead and, up the rest of, what I'm saying. But if money is being taken away, stolen, basically stolen from that school system, they don't have money to put towards that. So that child is going to go without sneakers for the basketball season, or whatever. Crazy. Yeah, I'm very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about that. You talking about the Boys and Girls Club? These are funds. Boys and Girls Club provide after school activities for these kids. The same kids whose parents like me are out there working to make sure that these kids eat, to make sure that these kids have a roof over their head. So here comes the Boys and Girls Club. They're providing these after school activities for these same kids. And if the Boys and Girls Club can't be paid, if the school system can't pay the Boys and Girls Club, then that means that they can't provide the activities that these kids need. You see what I'm saying? So it all ties into the same thing. So if somebody is infiltrating and taking from the school system for that district, it's hurting. Everybody is hurting. It's all gonna come down, fall back on the child. The child is going to hurt. That's all to it. So anybody that's taken from a school system, go out there and find a corporation and take from them. Go, 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 go. Don't take from us. Are you seriously taking from a school system, allegedly? Who are you? Like, you don't need to be our superintendent for sure. Are you for real? Like that's very frustrating. And I'm sure a lot of parents, if you understand, if you read into this, a lot of parents don't, people don't know about this, but a lot of parents would be like, hold on, especially those of us who work hard to make sure that our kids are involved and getting the best education that they can get. Like, are you for real? You're taking from our school system? What? The most important piece of a child's life? There are important pieces of a child's life: the upbringing of the child at home and the upbringing of the child in school. Are you for real? You're going to take away from the school system? Who does that? And you're the superintendent. Mm, you need to be kicked up your butt. And I wouldn't put anything past a person who's going to take from a school system. I wouldn't put anything past a person who would take from the school system, because you're taking from kids. I wonder how this man grew up. I wonder. I wonder if we did research. I guarantee you this man did not grow up in a way like the way I grew up. Let me say that. Guarantee it. Because the only way you would be passionate and like you would darn, even if somebody came in your ear and said, hey, I know a way we can make some extra money if we do this and this and this. if it involves taking away from the school system, if you grew up the way I grew up, oh hell no. I dare you, I'll be insulted. It's just like somebody coming up to you asking you if you want to smoke a cigarette. Like, oh hell no. How would you insult me like that? Don't be asked, don't what? Don't offer me some like so nasty and stinking. Are you for real? So it's just like, why would you insult me? Why would you take away from our school system for our kids' future? Are you for real? That's crazy. It's and that's why some of these cases, like I really get over passionate about. I'm feeling over passionate about it just because of export member. Oh, wow. This stuff, y'all, I don't know if it's because my headline, but it's stuff coming out about this dude. And this is tonight. This is tonight. This is Fox 5 Atlanta. Ex-board member on Horton. We knew about former bankruptcies, possible indictments. So board member, why would you vote him into your school system that's suffering, that need all the funds that they can get? They need more funds than what they have, than what's coming in. Why would you vote somebody in that has a background of even possibility, even if it's not proven in a court of law? Why would you vote somebody in that may or may not be taking funds from the school systems that we need? We need these funds. Like this kind of stuff really is so irritating. And that's why they said that they're investigating the people that voted him in also, because they knew about his background. Why would you vote somebody in? The only way that you would vote somebody in to your school system, okay, if you got that power to vote somebody in, the only way you would vote somebody into your school system that has a reputation or background or indictments of previously defrauding and embezzlement and all this stuff from a school system is if you think that you're going to get a portion. So they're just as guilty because these funds belong to our kids, our communities. Okay, let's focus. Let's focus. Woof. Mm-mm. Okay. It was further part of the scheme that Horton falsely omitted the income that he received from Antonio Ross and Samuel Ross on the Statement of Economic Interest form that he filed calendar year 2022 in order to conceal and disguise the existence, source, and purpose of the kickback payments that he received from Antonio Ross and Samuel Ross. Keep in mind, y'all, as you're reading these things, these are funds that belong to our children, to our communities. Okay? So to some people, it might not be a big deal. The amount might not be a big deal. But to those parents, those of us who understand where every fund how much every fund matter, every piece of fee matter in the school system, oh, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Those parents, I'm telling you, I have seen situations where like I went home and cried. I have seen not my children, but I have seen other kids in the school systems when you're dealing with band, you're dealing with football, you're dealing with basketball, you're dealing with these extra activities. And I have seen kids who don't have who are in some interesting situations where I've cried. I've gone home and cried. And I had to pull myself together. And what I did is I said, okay, how can I help these kids? How can I help these kids? And I'm not, I didn't have money like that, but because my heart was just going out to these people because of how I how I grew up. I'm like, oh, I don't ever want no child. I never would want a child to go through what I went through. Period. Never. Never, 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 never. So that is why I say that this guy, I don't know where he came from or how he grew up, but for you to take from a school system, funds from a school system, allegedly, something's wrong with that. Something's very wrong with that, period. Because my heart, even if somebody said, hey, April, you can make 10,000. All you got to do is just say that your LLC did this. If it's going to take from a child, me knowing how much that, you know, how much, even $1,000 to a school, you know how much that of a difference that makes. So something's wrong if you would take from a school system. Then you don't understand how people are struggling out here, how kids are struggling out here. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. That's really crazy. And these people, I'm telling you, people that take from a school system, this is not a corporation. Okay. This is not a corporation where everybody's millionaires. This is not from a law firm where everybody's a millionaire. This is the school system. Every penny counts. Every penny Counts. This is crazy. You would take from a school system? Oh my goodness. You might as well just go up to a little kid and just take their money out their pocket. Their little money that they have, the little change. You might as well, that's how it is. That's what you're doing. You don't care nothing about our kids. All right. So, and I'm going to take a small break. All right, guys. All right, just a moment. All right. So we're back. Woo. All right. So this gets like this story. I knew when I first heard about this story, I knew it was going to make me emotional, but just reading the details, um, mm, mm, mm. I was like, just a second here. Yeah. So I was like, it like I already kind of knew of the situation before I read these details. I could just like just the point of it being a superintendent, the highest salary in the board of education, and then you talking about taking money from from the system that you're supposed to be pouring into and building. Like that's crazy. So it just shows a lot. These kind of people don't need to be in the positions that they're in. And so for these DeKalb county officials, these board members, for them to vote him in and knowing of these indictments, they're just as cold hearted and they should be ashamed of their asses. They should be ashamed, period. Because that's crazy. It speaks a lot about who you are. Crazy. So, yeah. Mm-mm. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to do a live on Friday morning. I want to see if we can get some more, a group of people, a group, not a crowd, but at least a group of people Friday morning to join our live, and we're going to read the rest of it. And I might just read it all over just because I want to spread this and I'm going to keep on this because it's a lot of people that don't even realize this, that don't even know about this. And I want people like this, officials like this, corrupt government. This is corrupt government. This is corruption. Corrupt government needs to be put on blast. And that way in the future, if they're put on blast in the future, when things are like this are going through people's minds, they'll say, okay, well, we don't want to be but these people, to think that they could get away with this taken from kids in our communities, like, no. So we need to put them on blast. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a live on Friday morning. It's probably going to be super early because I want to see what kind of crowd or audience we can get or gain at that time, and then we'll read the rest of this indictment and see what comes of it, because we got to we got to stay on them, and we got to put them on blast, guys. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to stay on this story. He ought to be ashamed and kicked up his butt. Okay? That's what he ought to, yeah, that's what ought to happen. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. This is April. I am thankful, thankful, thankful. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, share it. Let's get this out. Let's get this out. So yeah, we're back. April TCG, we're back. We're back on our regular scheduled programming. Okay. Yeah. So let's get it. See you Friday morning. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Peace.